Now, though, a different question. How safe do you feel where you live? In Canterbury, they're spending £686,000 on CCTV, more nighttime police patrols, safety schemes in bars and nightclubs, and an app to use in an emergency. Stopping violence against women and girls is a top priority. Superintendent Rob Marsh from Kent Police joins us now. Rob, thank you so much for being here. So is Canterbury a dangerous place then?
No, absolutely not. I think Canterbury has always been a vibrant nighttime economy city. Obviously, we have a number of students that live and study in the city, and Canterbury is certainly not any more dangerous than any other place in the county or the country. But what this funding allows us to do is obviously work in partnership with a number of key partners to make it an even safer place to live, work and visit. So, that's the main priority for us, is to make sure people are able to enjoy the nighttime economy and the Canterbury city centre and feel as safe as possible.
What are your main concerns then about a night out?
I think it's, obviously tackling violence against women and girls has been a key priority for Kent Police for some time. It sits at the heart of our control strategy. And really want to take every opportunity we have to make sure that people feel safe when they're out and about in the nighttime economy. There's a number of obviously different range of incidents that can occur. But I think this funding and the plans we have and working with our partners, and particularly through the Community Safety Partnership, will allow us to put in a number of measures to make sure people feel as safe as possible when they're out and about in the nighttime economy.
Whenever we talk about safety on the street, the top thing that people listening to this show say is they want to see more patrols. They want to see more physical police officers on the beat. You're doing that, aren't you? More patrols on Friday and Saturday nights. Where are these extra officers coming from? Are they being taken from other areas?
No, so the funding allows us to uplift our patrolling at the key times, as you say, sort of on those Friday, Saturday nights in particular. And this will be extra high visibility patrolling. It won't detract from our ability to police any other parts of Kent or Canterbury or anything like that. This is going to be additionality, which is obviously very welcome through the funding that we've been able to be part of.
Is there any evidence that it's I suppose there isn't, because I was going to say that it stops crimes from happening, but you can't record a crime that hasn't happened, can you?
I think it, absolutely. It's difficult to really measure what you've prevented, but I know from the work that's already taken place and the work we'll achieve through this initiative is that the early intervention, whether it's some sort of low-level ASB that we're able to intervene with quickly, disrupting people, but more so the work the partners do, particularly in the licensed premises, that extra vigilance, that looking out for those people that perhaps are of concern and being able to intervene quickly, undoubtedly will allow us to prevent more serious things from occurring.
Indeed. And I suppose on the same note, the CCTV camera fulfills a similar function in if you think humans are likely to behave better if they feel they're being watched by a police officer or a camera. So you've got 32 new CCTV cameras as well. Do you think it serves a dual function as well, though, because you can catch people afterwards? You've got that footage.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's obviously run by the City Council, but it's fantastic for us from a police perspective, the increase in CCTV coverage. And as you say, there's a number of advantages to that. So we can get to incidents more quickly. If the CCTV operators are seeing it happening live time, we can respond to that. As you say, it will discourage offending because, these are overt cameras and we're not, they're things that are there to deter crime. But also, as you say, once an offence has taken place, it gives us really good quality evidence. And within the last week or so, we had 2 suspected car thieves arrested in Canterbury, which was greatly assisted by the CCTV coverage. So, absolutely fundamental to supporting crime prevention and crime detection through the CCTV coverage.
Good stuff. And I've often spoken to you and your colleagues at Kent Police about violence against women and girls being a priority, trying to curb that and make women feel safer. But I wonder, aren't men and boys more likely to be the victims of violence on the street on a night out, or is that not the case?
I think the term VAWG is very much sort of an umbrella term that encompasses several different types of offences, and of course it encompasses all members of our communities. I think you've got different different types of offending in the nighttime economy, you know, that violence and public order that can occur between different groups. But we're certainly not just focused on keeping women and girls safe. Obviously, that is priority for us, but everybody in the nighttime economy has that right to feel safe and enjoy it. So, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's an umbrella term, but it doesn't discriminate against any groups of our communities.
Indeed. And this has all come about, Rob, hasn't it, because of extra funding? Presumably at Kent Police, you'd be really hopeful that these kind of schemes could be rolled out to other parts of Kent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm aware that there are other Safer Streets successful funding bids in other parts of the county. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. And I think they're a brilliant initiative and a way of us really, you know, doing some really impactful work to make people feel safe in the communities.
And how will you be monitoring to see if this is successful? It does make our streets safer.
Well, I think we can obviously look at crime recording statistics in terms of are we seeing a reduction in reported incidents, but I think it'll be largely based on the feedback from the community. So we do a lot of surveying, and part of the strategy that we implement is through the walk and talk events, where we'll go out and speak to people in the communities and ask them questions. How safe do they feel? You know, what are the environmental factors that we can perhaps improve through the Community Safety Partnership and through the funding? And then we can obviously go back and revisit those surveys and re-engage with communities and say, you know, has the work we've done made a difference? Do you feel safer? And also those interventions that the partners will do through the Best Bar None scheme, when we get the Safe Zone app up and running, you know, obviously through the CCTV preventative work. So there's a range of measures that we can look at to kind of see how successful we've been, which I fully anticipate will be really successful in preventing and detecting a lot of serious crime.
Good stuff, and I'm sure we'll talk about this again. Rob, thank you for being with us this morning. Superintendent Rob Marsh then is from Kent Police. Also with us, Liz Jenkins, Chair of Trustees for Canterbury Street Pastors. Liz, welcome to the Wake Up Call as well. Good to have you here. So tell us exactly what your role is in all of this.
Yes, hello, good morning, Anna. We are one of the partners in the Canterbury Safer Streets initiative, and we're very excited to be part of that partnership. Street Pastors, as maybe some of your audience knows, is a national and international organisation. We're out on the streets in Canterbury on a Saturday night between 9 p.m. and the early hours of the morning, and we draw volunteers from churches in Canterbury and the surrounding area, and our new volunteers go through quite a lot of training to prepare them to be on the streets. And basically, in terms of what we do, is that we seek to be a presence on the streets, Jesus on the streets, if you like. You know, as Christians, we're called to model God's character of care and love and grace. And you'll see us on the street in very distinctive uniform, blue uniforms with high-vis lettering. So we're very identifiable on the streets. And as part of this particular initiative, we have been able to build our team, engage in more training as well, and provide uniform and really get the message out to our local churches, both in Canterbury and the surrounding area, that this is a really valuable thing to do, to be available for people on the streets, whether it's a listening ear or helping with first aid or working with our partners to people get home, all sorts of different activities that happen in that we can support with on a Saturday night. And
is it dangerous? Do you feel at risk yourself or your volunteers? Do you feel that Canterbury is a safe place?
Is it dangerous? I never feel threatened.
Okay.
As well as a trustee, I'm also on the streets as well. If your question is, would I go out for a night in Canterbury? Yes, I will, and I do. And yes, I do feel that because of the amazing community and partnership working, we can work to ensure that Canterbury is a safe place, definitely.
Are you pleased by these measures, though? Anything that can help people have a good experience when they try to enjoy themselves?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we, our role is to offer non-judgmental support to vulnerable people or people who become vulnerable. Nobody necessarily sets out on a Saturday night thinking that they will lose their friends or their purse or their shoes or become, overwhelmed on a Saturday. So this community partnership working is fantastic, and we will work very closely with venues who will ask us to assist if they believe that we can provide some help for someone who's become vulnerable. I think that is really important.
And what kind of incidents would you intervene in? What are some examples of the things that you've done?
Yes, I mean, recently on Saturday, a venue called us to assist a young woman and her friend who she had taken a tumble and had injured herself, and we were able to provide first aid and then assist her to a taxi to take her up to to K&C. So those are very kind of simple first aid situations. We've also been asked, and I'll be cautious in describing the situations, to just provide a protective place or space for people on a Saturday night, and to ensure that they are safe whilst working out how to get home or reconnecting with friends. So those are the kinds of things that we work with. But every night is different. It's it's very diverse. Yeah.
And presumably for those people who, as you rightly say, they don't set out to get into those situations, it feels probably a bit like an angel's come to intervene, because it can feel like the end of the world, can't it? Even if you lose your purse, something as simple as that, or you lose your friends, and then somebody says, "It's all right, you got this." It's like, oh, it's going to be fine. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's certainly the feedback that we get, is that, that everything seemed lost, almost literally, and that we were able to assist in whatever way we can, really. And we also have a prayer team that is active. We're based at the United Reformed Church, right in the middle of Canterbury, where we can go back and get a cup hot drink during the night. But we also have a prayer team there, and we do ask for prayer for those situations, for phones to be found, for friends to be found, for safe ways to get home, and those prayers are answered.
I wish she'd been there when my friend disconnected herself from the group, and we thought she'd gone home. She spent the whole night sleeping in a subway. She was fine, but it's not to be advised going forward.
No,
Liz.
Not to be advised, but such a common situation, actually.
Exactly.
Being separated, yes.
Yeah, and a bit too much imbibed. Liz, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really good to talk to you. Liz Jenkins then, who is Chair of Trustees for Canterbury Street Pastors. And we'll keep talking about Canterbury this morning and the measures in place to make it a safe and happy place to have a night out. Ask if you feel safe if you're there or in any part of Kent, and whether you think perhaps that your part of Kent could benefit from similar measures.